Hi, everybody. I'm here with Mary Smith today from Gettysburg College. She's going to tell you a little bit about the school.
Thanks so much, Miss Ernst. As she said, my name is Mary Smith. I am one of the Senior Associate Directors at Gettysburg College. Hello. I wish I could meet you in person or at least virtually, but hopefully by including my email address on this screen, you'll have a chance to reach out to me. Do forgive me as I am using two screens for this presentation, so occasionally I will be looking at my other screen to reference what I'm referring to. But I do ask, and I know Ms. Ernst will provide this information for you so that I get a chance to know who's been able to watch this video and interact with this presentation. I do ask that you complete this link at the bottom of the screen and that you use my email address and be in touch with me about any questions you might have about Gettysburg College. As you can also see there, I am a class of 2000 alumnus of Gettysburg College. It was a little different when I was a student there, so I promise this to be about our current students and not my past experience. But frankly, I did have a wonderful Gettysburg College experience. So for those of you unfamiliar with the school, just to give you an overview, literally and figuratively, this is an overview of Gettysburg College. It is a beautiful campus. We are set about from Mount Union and from Juniata Valley, I would say we're about an hour and a half, give or take, going through the mountains there, maybe an hour and a half to two, depending on where you reside. DC, which is a key hub city for us in terms of internships, job shadowing, performance opportunities, a lot of great connections with our close proximity to Washington, as well as Baltimore and Harrisburg, our state capital. But this is a nice view of our campus. And also I should mention my virtual background. I'll move out of the way for a moment. My virtual background is also a picture of our campus. So it is a beautiful campus set on about 200 acres, right in Gettysburg. So this is a broad brushstroke overview of the school. As it says on the slide, there's about 2,600 students and they come from all over. Yes, we have Pennsylvania residents and plenty of them. We have about 25% of our student body coming from the state of Pennsylvania, but many are from out of state, about 40 states and 40 foreign countries. And we have a lot of different academic programs ranging from the natural sciences, biology, biochemistry, physics, you name it. Anything within the natural science area, neuroscience, students interested in studying pre-med, and we do have health professions advising for students to go that direction, as well as the humanities. A lot of students with an interest in pre-law, a lot of students with an interest in history, a lot of students with an interest in English. It covers the gamut in the humanities as well. I myself chose Gettysburg for its music program. We have a very, very strong fine and performing arts area. So visual arts, music, theater, we have all of the above and plenty of opportunities to be involved if you're interested in participating, but not necessarily majoring in it, and that's fine too. So natural sciences, social sciences, quantitative reasoning area, business is huge for us. We have a new business major, a data science minor, very strong computer science major. We really cover the quantitative area pretty well, pretty strongly, as well as the humanities and fine and performing arts. So as it mentions there are over 65 different academic programs, and they cover the gamut. I won't go into too much detail about everything listed on this slide. Suffice it, the primary thing I will say is research is huge for us. We want to make sure you get a lot of great hands-on experiences, both inside and outside the classroom. So that means research related to the sciences as well as outside the sciences, internship opportunities, job shadowing, career immersion. We want to make sure you're networking with people in your field as well. Gettysburg has a lot to offer and a lot of great connections in the field. So there are many, many different types of opportunities there. And the average class size is 17, so you really get to know your faculty. You really get to know the students really well. It is, quite frankly, kind of like a family. With 2,600 students, you don't know everybody, but it's a nice, close interaction with you and your faculty, administration, the dining hall staff, the housekeeping staff. You really get to know everybody, and there's a close connection. It is a rigorous academic environment, but it's not cutthroat, is kind of the best way to describe it. And we have an honor code in place where you're held up to your standard, your honor, if you will. So that means no professor is proctoring an exam. They might be down the hall if you're taking a test, and so they're there if you need them, but they're not there to monitor you every second of an exam, for example. You're on your honor, and it's that mutual respect and responsibility. You sign that statement to every paper, project, exam, everything you turn in. So that's a little bit about the academic side. Campus life is busy. Students do a little bit of everything. We have over 120 clubs and organizations, and they really cover the gamut. I would say three of the most popular areas to get involved with: athletics are big. We're Division III Centennial Conference. Very, very competitive D3 program. Music is big. I mentioned our Conservatory of Music. We have everything from a marching band to a well-renowned symphony orchestra to a jazz ensemble to 4 different choirs. Lots of opportunities with music. And community service is also huge. We actually own our Center for Public Service, another hallmark program, if you will, that allows us to do a lot of different projects and programming, both in our local community, as well as nationally, as well as globally. So there's a lot to get involved with. But the clubs cover the gamut from anything that I just mentioned to the barbecue club and the ultimate Frisbee club. And you name it, we probably have a club for it. Plenty to get involved with. Another piece I'll mention from this particular slide is, well, 2 things I should mention. Most students live on campus. It is a highly residential campus because students are coming from oftentimes at least 2 hours away. So most students will live on campus, standard residence hall your first year, 1 roommate, and then lots of different housing options after that. And by the way, the food is ranked number 11 in the country, so the food is pretty good. And then the other piece is study abroad. While we love having students on campus, we also really encourage them to leave campus to study abroad for a full semester in another country and have a very different experience. So our students are very active. They double major, they major and minor, they're involved in 5 clubs, they get involved in a lot of things. And they have great success after graduation. About 80% while they're a student at Gettysburg completes an internship and all different sorts of career-related experiences. And 98% of our students either have a job or are in graduate school within the first year of graduation. So they do particularly well. Last but not least is the admissions piece. From an admissions perspective, we're looking at a lot of different things in your application. First and foremost, your grades. That really carries the most weight and gives us a full picture of who you are as a student for those 4 years. And we know these past 2 years have been a little different. Part of your junior year, your senior year, it's been a little different, and we're going to take it within that context. And that's why it's been wonderful for us working with your college advisor, working with your counselors to really talk about what those shifts have looked like and what your school has been doing during all of this pandemic. But that transcript does carry the most weight. A's and B's in challenging courses is what we typically see. And then it's looking at everything else. Extracurriculars, recommendation letters. We require 1 teacher and 1 counselor recommendation, so a total of 2. And then your personal statement is the college essay. All of that's a part of the common application, that one common form that we at Gettysburg take and a lot of schools like us take. We also really encourage a virtual visit. So if you fill out that link that I mentioned early on, this can count as a virtual visit for you. So good job. But hopefully you also reach out to me individually and do an individual appointment with me, where we have more of a conversation about you, your interests, your hopes, your dreams, and questions for me about Gettysburg and just the college process in general. The thing I didn't mention was standardized testing. It's up to you. If you choose to submit testing, if you've been able to even take a test, that's great. You're welcome to submit. If you don't or haven't had a chance to take the standardized testing, SAT or ACT, that is okay. we have been a test optional school now well over 10 years. So it really doesn't matter to us. And we don't need testing for merit scholarships either. Deadlines are listed there. Early decision, meaning Gettysburg's your #1 choice and you really want to go to Gettysburg. That is binding. November 15th or January 15th. And regular decision, meaning we look at the entire applicant pool all at the same time, is January 15th. And we will send letters, decision letters out about the 3rd week of March is our timing there. And then the other side of that coin is the financial aid side. Gettysburg is a private institution, but that also means we have a lot of private funding. So we do a lot with financial aid and scholarships. Our sticker price can often be a shocker. I'll be straight up with you on that. It's $70,000 a year, approximately. But at the same time, most students are receiving about, if not more than half of that in financial aid and merit scholarships. Frankly, it cost me less to go to Gettysburg than it did the state school because of my great financial aid and scholarships that I was afforded. So I really encourage you to not only apply for financial aid, but also keep an open mind because it is interesting to see how much you can qualify for. Our average package this past year was about $42,000 in terms of financial aid and scholarship dollars. So all of those are different opportunities. And with that being said, our location, and I'll just share a few slides with some photographs because frankly, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Some of our traditions on campus. Our anatomage table, which is a virtual cadaver lab. So for any of you interested in the sciences, this has been great for our pre-med students, our health science students. Wonderful facility there. I mentioned study abroad. I mentioned our Conservatory of Music. And these are some unique programs, the Eisenhower Institute being one of them. I did not talk about that. That is a hallmark program for us with offices a block from the White House and right on our campus. It is President Eisenhower's Public Policy Institute. It is his legacy organization. And with that being said, I will actually end this presentation and turn it back over to Ms. Ernst.
Thank you, Mary. That was a really good presentation. I liked it. Okay, I just have a couple questions that a lot of students generally ask college reps just to get the ball rolling with questions. First question is, what does your average admitted student look like?
Sure. So overall, students with A's and B's in challenging courses, and again, we look at it in the context of the school, knowing that not every school offers, for example, a lot of advanced placement courses, and that's okay. We want to see it within the context of the school. We like to see 4 years of math, 4 years of a natural science, 3 to 4 years of foreign language, if possible. And again, we know that's not always the case. So challenging courses, that's pretty important to us. Then it's literally everything else from the extracurriculars, everything students do, they bring that to our campus. So musicians, scholars, athletes, students who are civically engaged, all different sorts of things, all of that matters and influences our campus. So we look at that. And then of course, if they've been able to take that standardized testing, our average is about a 1340 on the SAT. Our average is about a 2829 on the ACT. But again, we're seeing with this year already that a lot of students who've not been able to take those tests, and that is totally okay. Usually in a normal year, about 20%, 30% of students applying will go test optional. This is a different year.
Yes, very different indeed. Second question, I saw your pictures about the campus traditions. What would you say is one of your favorite campus traditions at Gettysburg?
Oh, that's a good question. So I have two favorites, and actually both, and I'll pull up my screen real quick, both were actually highlighted in that particular slideshow. So one of my favorites, and if you ask many of our students, they will agree with this, is our Thanksgiving dinner, which is highlighted here. It is where basically the dining hall staff starts cooking these turkeys first thing in the morning, like 4:30 a.m. And students go in as a group, 8 to 12 students together, and you sit down and have a traditional Thanksgiving dinner while being served by your faculty and staff. So the entire Gettysburg community is involved with that. So that's a big tradition, one of my favorites. The other one is so unique to Gettysburg, and that's the first year walk. That's this one down at the bottom left here. The first year walk is, I don't want to say a reenactment, but it's basically, it's helping students to acclimate to our historic town. Gettysburg, the place, changed the course of our nation's history back in 1863. So just as our students did back in 1863, they followed President Lincoln up to the National Cemetery that had just been dedicated at that point, or was being dedicated on that day. And in our case, they hear a reading of the Gettysburg Address. They close off the entire town for our students. So they walk right through the center of town. So that's what they're doing here in this picture. And they, again, hear from a noted authority the reading of the Gettysburg Address, but they also meet a lot of the townspeople. They become a part of the community, essentially, in that way. The mayor usually gives the keys to the city to the students, and it's just a really powerful day to really say, hey, you're a part of Gettysburg. You are now shaping your own history, and the idea is, how do you pay that forward? Okay, these people, these students who went before us, they changed history. How will you change history? So it's kind of a really, really neat connection. I think that one might be my personal favorite.
That was really cool. I didn't remember that from hearing about it before. Cool. Okay. Last question for you. In these uncertain times, a lot of students are struggling academically, socially, stuff like that. What kind of services are available for students who may be struggling academically, socially, and emotionally on campus?
Oh, that's such a good question. And I mean, we're having that conversation right now. I mean, we're living and breathing it from a college perspective as we're making decisions about keeping our first years on campus and other students being at home and working remotely now. And it's challenging for all of us, for faculty, for staff, for students especially. So we have actually increased our counseling center, mental health, socio-emotional health. We work very closely with our local hospital, which is 5 minutes up the road. So we pair out in terms of clinicians that are able to both come to campus, but also we're able to refer students. But really it's that increased support in the counseling area. But that's one facility, if you will. But frankly, seeing it in action from our faculty, they're so caring. I mean, I've been seeing some of the Instagram posts by faculty and some of the messages that they're sending to their students in their classes. They care, and they're reaching out to their students. I mean, heck, I've been on the phone texting and reaching out to students. That it's really that kind of community from the top down, from the president to the administration to the faculty. Everybody's involved in making sure students are supported. And that includes the academic side. From both an advising perspective, every student has an advisor. And they are assigned an advisor from day one. And the advising system is kept small. So the faculty member may only have 10 first-year students that they advise. They're not advising 100. It's just 10 students. So they have the time to dedicate and commit and make sure you're doing okay. And then there's also our Office of Multicultural Engagement. And they do a lot of programming for students who are coming from very different backgrounds. So for example, we have a lot of students from inner city New York. Gettysburg, the place, is a bit different than inner city New York. But it's also a different place in terms of, I mentioned it's highly academic, it's rigorous in terms of the academics. And not everybody has that same level of preparation. Obviously, you're admitted, you have that capability, you have that. But it's, sometimes there's those gaps. For our first generation students, which we have many, Office of Multicultural Engagement also does a lot of different things there to plan, assist, guide, and support on a lot of different fronts. Socio-emotional, mental, as well as physical health, as well as academic health. It's a great question.
Awesome. Happy to hear of all the good support systems, official and unofficial support systems.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. That's all I have for you. Do you have any last words, I guess?
I would say my last words are just simply, please reach out to me. Please use me as your resource. I have worked with your schools, both Juniata Valley and Mount Union, for quite a few years now, so I know your schools, I know your counselors and your college advisor. So I encourage you to reach out to me, because we do like to make this process personal, in the sense of you may have individual questions or individual concerns that you just want to talk to somebody about. So use my email address, mlsmith@gettysburg.edu. Feel free to reach out to me. And hopefully you had a chance. I will share a video with Ms. Ernst as well, so you can see a little bit more about Gettysburg through that video too. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.